All right, please be joined by Mike Hart, Nick Kirby. Welcome into another edition of Chatterbox Reds. Fun topic of conversation today. 4 players elected into the Reds Hall of Fame. One player that, oh man, I've been advocating for over a decade to get in, and he finally is here. I'm excited to talk about that. Mike, my friend, how we doing?
Oh, I'm great. I'm excited. Reggie Sanders, obviously a great. I'm spoiling it for everyone, I guess. But you know, the other guys going in too are, real big fan favorites, at least for me. I'm excited about what that ceremony is, what that speech is going to be like as Brandon Phillips is there. See if there's any friends that come visit. See if Joey Votto's in the house for it or something like that. That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, this is gonna be a really fun, Hall of Fame class. I think that there's been some in the past that have been like, oh, okay, yeah, this is cool, but these are like 4 guys. I'd say all 4, even Lou Piniella, we talked about a second, that are 4 really just interesting characters in the Reds' history, spanning really like me and your entire lifetime. So it's kind of
Hmm.
cool that it's started from when I was like a baby, Lou Piniella, all the way up until I was an adult with Brandon Phillips. So cool class. We'll talk about all that. Before we get to that, just want to real quick remind everyone about our friends over at Omaha Steak. This is actually the last week, Mike, with the Chatterbox discount code that works before the holidays. So if you're looking for a last minute holiday gift, they ship it really quick. Orders, I think, before 6 p.m., same day shipping, which is just crazy. But we're big fans of Omaha Steaks. And they have a big sale going on right now, but you can get an extra $35 off on top of that sale with the promo code Chatterbox at checkout. Terms to apply. See site for details. omahasteaks.com, code Chatterbox at checkout. Great stuff. Great holiday gifts. Make sure you check that out. Well, as mentioned, 4 players elected into the Reds Hall of Fame: Brandon Phillips, Aaron Harang, Reggie Sanders, and Lou Piniella. We'll start off with Brandon Phillips. I mean, as surefire of a Reds Hall of Famer as you're probably going to get until Joey Votto is elected. I mean, he's one of the Reds' best uh, players, especially best. He's one of the Reds' best second basemen of all time. He was a surefire trip into the Hall of Fame and well deserved for Brandon Phillips.
Yeah, I completely agree. Growing up, when I was a younger kid, Barry Larkin was my favorite player, and then after he retired, it became Brandon Phillips. Brandon Phillips was just a walking highlight reel. Not only did he play with a ton of energy and swag, but he was just watching. I think of one of the things I'm most excited about is the lead up to this is that we just get to re-experience all these awesome Brandon Phillips highlights. Of just him doing ridiculous things at second base and well deserving all of those gold gloves that he got. So, couldn't be more excited to see that. I think it'll be a fun time at the ballpark when Brandon Phillips is there giving his speech about being inducted into the Hall of Fame there.
Yeah, I mean, 2007 to 2012, I mean, Phillips averaged about 3.5 wins above replacement. I mean, it was just a consistent all-star level player, and obviously was a big part of why the Reds teams had so much success in 2010 and 2012. I think something that gets kind of forgotten. Phillips was really good in that 2012 division series. He was batting leadoff. Obviously, a lot of people remember is they called it a base running blunder in Game 3. As actually someone that I kind of like the aggressiveness. I think a lot of people feel like very hindsight criticism of him, but he was really, really good in that series. Fortunately, obviously, it didn't work out for the Reds. But if the Reds would have advanced, I think it would have been a huge memory. He had a big home run, and I think it was Game 1 after Johnny Cueto got hurt. He was a big piece in that series, especially with Joey Votto, who could get on base, but that was literally it because he was playing on one leg. He was playing hurt. But yeah, incredible career for Brandon Phillips. Very deserving to get in. Uh, Phillips is an interesting player for me, just personally. Phillips was like my absolute favorite player. And I think most people in that 2007 to 2011 range. Then I kind of got more interested in like the advanced stats, and Phillips kind of declined very quick at the end. So it was kind of a little bit of a turmoil at the end, but it's kind of, I think, one of those things that, you know, uh, even if things end sour with a player, time kind of heals all wounds. I think
Oh, yeah.
things did in some ways end sour with Phillips and the Reds. Um, I won't mention that he's blocked me on Twitter because of an article that I wrote that he should be dropped in the batting order. I won't mention that. But I'm happy for Phillips. Phillips, don't block me. I'm happy to congratulate you on Twitter.
Yeah, I will always remember the infamous Yadier Molina fight,
Oh yeah, that's
where
a
at the
good point
beginning of
too.
the game where he's just trying to say, "Hey, good luck," and Yadier Molina over here decides to start picking a fight that led to all hell breaking loose. So, I was very proud that that guy was on my team when that happened, and we didn't have those, pompous Cardinals that were, complaining about the little smallest things when all he's trying to say is, "Hey, good luck, good game." Come on, just actively looking for a fight, Yachty.
That was baseball at its best. I mean, that was just fun. I mean, it was a fun time to follow the Reds, and obviously kind of that whole year was wild because the Reds get that the series was pegged up as this must-win series. You have to win, and the Reds get swept, get absolutely destroyed. I think in the final game, I think it was Colby Rasmus hit a grand slam off Bronson Arroyo. My sicko brain somehow remembers
Yeah,
that. But then what happens? The Reds win the division by like 7 games. Like it was
yeah,
never even close. The Cardinals just completely fell apart after that. But man, that was a fun season. And Phillips was a huge part of that 2010 team. And the cool thing about Phillips that I'll give him a lot of credit for is he did wear a lot of hats. Like he batted leadoff, he batted cleanup. He did do like a lot of different things. He was kind of a different player and for different teams. And I do think he kind of embraced that.
yeah, and not something to be said too about being the emotional leader of a team. I think we've talked about how as young guys come up, having somebody there that's gonna be the first one out there if somebody is trying to start something, but also like, hey, let's get up off the mat, let's go, and I'm gonna play hard no matter what, and this is how we do things here in the majors. I think is great to have on a team to set the tone for some young guys coming up, and that's why Brandon Phillips was the best, because he had that huge smile. But man, he was there to work. He was there to go and play incredible Gold Glove defense. I remember, I think it was maybe 2012. So he won Gold Glove in 2010, 11, and 13, but didn't win it in 12. And I remember being so upset. I was just like, what are we talking about? How is there anyone in the National League that's even close to him? And I don't remember who it was. I want to say it was Darwin Barney is my guess from the
I think
silly
you're right.
Chicago Cubs is my guess. I was so upset about Darwin. I hope that's right.
You are
Um,
correct. You're
oh
correct.
my gosh, I can't believe that he stole the 4-peat away from Brandon Phillips. But also remember he would have like his glove was actually gold, like had the gold webbing, and I was like, dude, that's the coolest thing ever. He's just like, yeah, I'm a gold glover, and here's how I know. And I thought that was so awesome. So yeah, well deserving. I'm very excited to be able to, be I like I'm gonna it's the type of thing that's just like, let's try to go to that game. I would love to be able to hear and be there in the crowd when they get to celebrate this guy.
It was interesting because advanced metrics for fielding was not exactly wildly accepted then, and you only had defensive runs saved. You didn't have outs above average yet. And Phillips was actually like I don't know if you remember this, Mike, but was actually kind of like a uh,
Yeah.
confrontational player among that. Um, that year actually, I don't. Did they not call it defensive run saved? They called it something. No, I'm looking at the wrong one. I have it here. Darwin Barney was worth 28 defensive runs saved that season, and Phillips was worth 11.
I refuse
Uh,
to believe that. I refuse to believe that. It's a flawed stat.
It's a full stat. Yeah, I mean, Darwin Barty was incredible. He couldn't hit worth a lick, and he was one of the worst hitters in baseball. Um, but yeah, it would have been interesting. I don't know if Phillips, in some ways, I think if it kind of was maybe good for him that he kind of played before, like the advanced stats were maybe uh fully out, or maybe they would have shown something different. I don't know. I don't know what outs above average. I know like kind of I think the knock on him, a lot of people that fully believed and digested the defensive run saved where basically they said that his range wasn't as good as like your eyes would tell you. Like he made a lot of incredible highlight plays, but he didn't have the range, and that's just something that you don't really, see. I think that's like kind of like now with like Matt McClain and Gavin Lux. Like Gavin Lux might make most of the plays, but he has like no range. I think that was kind of the concept. But nonetheless, he was an incredible defender. Darwin Barney, I don't know if he deserves shots from us or not. 28 defensive runs saved is a lot, Mike.
Come on now. Yeah. 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 Okay. Maybe he deserved a nice little runner-up trophy, but no, you can't take that away from me. Brandon Phillips should have won it in 2012 too. Give me the 4-peat.
Give me the 4-peat. All right. I like it. Congrats to Brandon Phillips. Very well deserved. Another player I'm really excited that he got voted in, Mike, was Aaron Harang. I was a little nervous that Harang would kind of get a knock because his ERA is not spectacular. Wins-loss record, I think he was sub 500 with the Reds. I should have pulled that up. It wasn't spectacular. I know that much. But I was worried like that would get kind of taken against him, which it shouldn't because of twofold. Number one, he played on terrible Reds teams. When he was good, the Reds were atrocious. So wins and losses shouldn't really matter for a pitcher on a team that was terrible. And two, he played at the end of a steroid era. I mean, like the run environment across baseball when Harang was at his best was at unhealthy levels offensively. And like if you put up a 4.3 ERA, it's equivalent to a lot of years, like what a 3.2 ERA might have been. So I'm really happy that Aaron Harang got in, an incredible pitcher for the Reds, and I think very well deserved.
Yeah, absolutely. Aaron Harang was your prototypical guy. How many opening days in a row did he start? It felt like it was just like, hey, this guy is always out here. He's throwing like from 2005, he threw 2005 to 2009. He threw over 160 innings in every single one of those, including 211, 234, and 231 in 2005 through 2007. This dude was just a guy who was always available, making all his 32 starts, 36 starts, 34 starts. So this was a horse, the guy that was just out there giving you all that, everything that you could for that. Yeah, some really bad teams. My fun Aaron Harang thing is that I have a bobblehead that I had of Aaron Harang that was missing when I pulled it out of the box. It was the right arm was missing. So he like has the glove up and he's throwing, and then the arm is just missing. So my Aaron Harang with no arm is my is the way that I always was. It's the way I always envision Aaron Harang. I'm sorry. I know you were a great baseball player, but I always envision you as my bobblehead without a right arm that came out when I got it for the Reds. So no, this guy, yeah, he was somebody that I completely agree. Well deserving for just like a not great time of Cincinnati Reds baseball. So I'm glad that we're able to recognize and get him in there, like a 5.3 WAR season in 06, a 6.0 WAR season in 07. Like this guy was very good for a team that, didn't have much going for it.
Finished fourth in the Cy Young voting in 2007, which is pretty rare for the Reds. Obviously, Trevor Bauer won in 2020, the COVID shortened season. But outside of Bauer in 2020, Cueto finished second in 2014. Before that, the most recent time before that was Pete Schurik finishing second in 1995. That was the top 5 finishes. So pretty rare that a Reds pitcher, pitches that well, is at that high of the height of the game. So, yeah, congrats to Aaron Harang. Absolutely, very well deserved. Any final thoughts on Harang?
No, I'm just another guy that it's crazy that the people that we grew up watching are the ones getting in the Hall of Fame now. It's just like, man, you're old when that's the case. It's just like, oh yeah, it's like I have childhood memories of listening to Aaron Harang on the radio with Marty and Joe, and it's like, oh, these guys are long gone and retired now. Well, I guess you're getting old.
Deep South Commodities is a proud supporter of Chatterbox Reds and our Deep Drive of the Day, and DSC is a leader in renewable commodities for biofuel production, specializing in used cooking oil collection, aggregation, and sales. Visit www.deepsouthcommodities.com for more information. Thanks as always to our friends at DSC. And we also want to remind you that you can call or text 988 anytime, day or night. The 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline is a place to get support for anything related to mental health. Whether it's an immediate crisis, simply wanting to find out how to connect with care, or anything in between, it's a 100% confidential, secure, and anonymous way to reach out for help when you don't know where else to turn. To connect, call or text 988 or visit mantherapy.org to get help. It's okay not to be okay. All right, now to a player that I'm incredibly excited finally got into the Reds Hall of Fame. Reggie Sanders, a player that it was an absolute travesty that he wasn't in the Hall of Fame. One of the Reds' best outfielders in franchise history. Was incredible in 1995. I know Barry Larkin won the MVP that year, but if you look at any there's no way Larkin finishes ahead of Reggie Sanders if the voting happened today, because every advanced stat would have pointed to Reggie Sanders had a much more productive regular season than Larkin. This isn't taking anything away from Larkin. He's a Hall of Famer and well-deserving, but that's just how good Reggie Sanders was, and that obviously was the best Reds team that we've had in our lifetime since 1990. I don't know. I'm just thrilled for Reggie. I hope he actually comes. I'm assuming he probably will. But an honor that's long overdue, and glad they finally got it right.
Yeah, I don't have too many memories of, Reggie Sanders that way. Watching him, but boy, just yeah, that 6.6 WAR, that 95 season. And I read a certain article that was written maybe even 10 years ago, laying out the case that you know, made a pretty good case and brought some pretty good numbers about a guy that produced and was well deserving of being in the hall.
Yeah, Sanders unfortunately got a lot of heat for 1995 when the Reds got swept by the Braves in the NLCS. I mean, he just absolutely got blown away in that series. Could not hit an up and in fastball. Um, might be important to remind people that the pitchers we were facing were Glavine, Smoltz, and Maddox, who are all in Cooperstown. And Steve Avery was a pretty good pitcher as well, who just casually pitched, I think, in Game 4. Um, but the whole rest of the team outside of Barry Larkin was terrible. No one could hit anything. Sanders did have a huge home run in Game 2 of the NLDS against the Dodgers that the Reds swept. That was obviously the last time the Reds have advanced in the playoffs. So I think that's an important piece of that as well. But yeah, I mean, just the overall numbers. I mean, he's top 10 in Reds outfielders all time and wins above replacement. It's just that kind of player should be in the Hall of Fame. It'd be interesting. I know he dealt with a lot of injuries. I think that also kind of slowed him down a little bit of his career. I'm curious because I don't, Mike, you probably were a little too young, but that series really like left kind of a stain on him in his fan base in some ways. And I wonder if that series doesn't happen if he ends up playing longer with the Reds, like if they would have kind of viewed him differently. Obviously went on to win a World Series with the Diamondbacks in 2001. Did he win a World Series with the Cardinals as well? I mean, he was on some really, really good teams after his career ended with the Reds.
Yeah, I was a little too young to read about the discourse of Reggie Sanders and his playoff performance, but I do remember the trade because he was traded to the Padres that brought over Greg Vaughn, who was pivotal for that 1999 season that the Reds had in their unfortunate one game loss to Al Leiter and the Mets. But I think that was an interesting thought of just like how one series perception can really drive that. And but ultimately, like, he went on to be productive in San Diego. So I think it was one of those rare, trades that I think both sides would be pretty happy with, right? I know we only got 1 year of Greg Vaughn, but I think he was, a lot of people talk about how instrumental was in that magical 1999 season. So yeah, it's one of those things that, yeah, maybe it didn't have the perfect, Hollywood ending on everything that he did. And that's probably why it's been so long for him to actually get into this Hall of Fame. But I think ultimately, when you take away any of that, you look at just the statistics or just, what he meant to the team and to Cincinnati in his time here. think it's well deserving, and I'm glad that they're finally righting this egregious absence uh, for my friend Nick specifically, but also the whole city of Cincinnati.
Very egregious for sure. Yeah, interesting enough, Sanders actually had a higher wins above replacement than Greg Vaughn in 1999. Now, Greg Vaughn was, I think, a big emotional leader. I know that's been discussed a lot, and it's hard to quantify that. Obviously, Greg Vaughn was incredible too. Hit just a casual 45 home runs. Was worth 3.4 Baseball Reference wins above replacement. Sanders was worth 4.1 that year. Hit for a much higher average of 50 points higher, and stole 36 bases, hit 26 home runs himself. So, yeah, and Sanders ended up being on the 2002 Giants that almost won the World Series as well. I mean, this
It's the
guy,
Bonds year, right?
he was on the 2001 Diamondbacks that won the World Series. He goes to the Giants the next year. They go to the seventh game of the World Series. And then he was on the Cardinals in 2004, 2005, which I believe those teams were pretty good as well. So he certainly had a pretty good run. Yeah, 2004 Cardinals won the World Series. So yeah, he was on two World Series winners and one World Series runner up post Reds career. So not too bad.
Yeah, not bad at all.
2004 Cardinals didn't win the World Series. They lost the World Series to the Red Sox. Of course, that
Very
was
famously, I
yeah, yeah.
guess. Yeah,
But he went to the World Series 3 times, so
yeah.
shout out to Reggie Sanders. Last but not least, Lou Piniella gets in. I think it's pretty fair, Mike, if you're a manager of a Reds team that wins the World Series, it kind of feels like you probably should get an automatic ticket into the Reds Hall of Fame. Congrats to Lou Piniella. I don't really know or remember a whole lot about him. It sounds like he was probably, like many managers, Davey Johnson, rest in peace as well, unfairly dismissed early from the Reds by Marge Schott. But it obviously led the 1990 team to the World Series, a team that had no expectations whatsoever of winning the World Series. Lou Piniella is weird for me because my memories of Lou Piniella are when he was the manager of the Cubs, when they stunk, when the Reds were really good, around 2010. And it felt like Lou Piniella was like mailing it in then with the Cubs. It's kind of interesting your perspective, depending on when you watch. I'm sure people that were alive and well in 1990 and watched every game probably are a lot more fond of Lou Piniella, but that's kind of only my memories of him.
Yeah, I mean, also, I guess I think of him as in with the Mariners because he was with the Mariners when Ichiro came over with Ken Griffey Jr. and A Rod, I believe, all over there underneath the tutelage of Lou Piniella. Was the manager of that 116 win season in 2001 for the Mariners. So that yeah, I was not I don't remember the time of Sweet Lou, but even in his 3 years, they won 91 games, 74 games, and 90 games. So, was and a World Series. So wasn't here for very long, but boy, you win a World Series with a team, that wire to wire team, just you know, I think that you're right. That's enough to get memorialized with the Reds.
Yeah, it's a good point. That they did win 90 games in 1992 with Lou Piniella, his final year with the Reds. It's kind of crazy that a team won 90 games and finished 8 games out of a playoff spot. But that was unfortunately the reality of baseball back in 1992. And if the playoff structure was different, who knows what could have happened that year. But yeah, certainly. Congrats to Lou Piniella. Congrats to all four of these guys. Going to be a really exciting Hall of Fame. It's April 24th, I believe. I should have this up, but it is the April 25th, I think, is the announcement. I think it's a whole weekend celebration, the 24th through the 26th. That Saturday is um, the actual ceremony at the stadium. So yeah, really looking forward to this. I think this will be a cool weekend for the Reds, and yeah, I'm just excited about it.
Yeah, I think we'll get some good sound bites that you'll be able to you'll have, and I'm sure that Chatterbox will be covering and posting some of those funny things that Brandon Phillips, who I think is the owner of the Florence Yalls now. I think
Is he
he
really?
I think he is either the owner or like in ownership of that independent team in Florence. Um, I hope I didn't just completely misspeak here.
I don't know. I'm googling it now. I am was played. He played briefly for the
Oh,
Florence Freedom in a
may
comeback attempt in 2020. Um, I don't know. I don't know.
or
Maybe.
maybe I misspoke there,
Maybe he's a
but
player owner. Maybe he was a player owner. Hey, that would
there's
that would
somebody there that's typing into the comments is like, no, it was actually this, or this guy doesn't know what he's talking about, and I'm sorry.
He
I
also made a
misspoke.
comeback attempt with the Lexington Legends as
Legends, I
well.
see that,
Yeah,
yes.
so he tried them all in the area. Shout out to that dude BP. All right, well, for Mike Hart, I'm Nick Kirby. Thanks so much for tuning in to this episode of Chatterbox Reds. If you're watching on YouTube, be sure to hit that like button. If you're listening to podcast form, leave us a 5-star review. Say something nice about us. We would really appreciate that. And until next time, go Reds.